as we all know, construction has a team-based nature. Like the workers needs to work together, and not only work together, but also deliver a high performance. And the previous studies, it shows the importance of safety in the successful teaming. So as we know, like the construction is, like the innovation in the construction and in the future job sites, we are expecting to have robots on the construction job sites, and out of all those robots, the drones are the most widely used and the famous to use on the construction job sites. While at the same time, the workers needs to stay in the loop, and they needs to interact with the drones and the robots. So the safety between the human and robot interaction is really important in the future construction. When we are talking about the future construction, so the success of the future construction, an interesting topic is because the workers, they have different kind of strengths and challenges. So we are expecting to have the future construction to be more inclusive, which can understand the individual challenges and provide the intervention if needed. So we are talking about the diversity. So neurodiversity is one common form of diversity, and in the neurodiversity, ADHD, like the people with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, the study shows those people, they are highly creative, energized, and the hyper-focused. But at the same time, those people, they struggle with inattentiveness, impulsiveness, and the hyperactiveness. So you might be wondering why we choose ADHD for this study. So in the US, there is a quite large population which are suffering with ADHD. Especially in Indiana, it's the higher number of population are with ADHD. And also the previous study, they showed the higher rate of unemployment in people with ADHD as compared to the normal one. And as I mentioned, like the people with ADHD, they like to do some hands-on activity. So if we were able to address their challenges, the construction job sites are the proper workplace for them. So So in this study, we try to address 3 gaps. The first is like there is a very limited discussion about the neurodiversity in construction. And the second, there is a need to identify the workers with potential ADHD, and also there should be some strategies that should create the awareness of at the job sites for the workers. So in this study, we develop a human digital twin system that identifies the worker with ADHD and give them the feedback to notice the approaching drones. So you might be wondering, what is a human digital twin? So we heard a lot about a typical digital twin in which we have a building, physical entity, and its digital replica. Similar, we have a human body and its digital replica, and the bidirectional communication can help in understanding, predicting, and improving the human performance. So in this study, we did a virtual reality-based experiment in which the worker needs to do a bricklaying robot task. And we used a mule robot. It's a real-world robot that drop and lift the concrete block, while the worker needs to apply the mortar and also correct the position of the mule. And in the experiment, there are 3 different kinds of drones that came to interact with the worker. Those drones include the inspection drone, survey drone, and the delivery drone. And during the experiment, the worker needs to wear some kind of eye tracking devices, trackers, like the motion tracker devices, and the FNIRS and the Empatica to get their neurophysiology data. This is the overview of how they did the experiment. So in the video, you can see worker is wearing the sensors and the devices, and he is doing a bricklaying task. So in the first stage, we collected some data to develop the human digital twin, and which was analyzed in the stage 2 experiment. So to create a human digital twin system, we have different layers. So the first layer is the physical layer, where the worker needs to wear the devices and the sensor. The second is the sensing layer. We get the eye tracking data, electrothermal data, skin temperature, acceleration, and the prefrontal cortex activation data. Then is the communication layer. So the eye tracking data directly goes to the Unity, where we develop the experiment and also the human digital twin. Electrodermal skin temperature and acceleration, these data were uploaded to the AWS cloud, and then it goes to the Unity, and the prefrontal cortex data was saved for the post-analysis. And then we have a perception layer. So the goal of this study was to develop a model that can identify the workers with potential ADHD. So the biggest challenge in this study was because there is no ground truth data for the ADHD workers. So we collaborated with psychology professional who did some clinical assessments to identify the workers with potential ADHD. So the stage 1 participants, they were divided into 3 groups, and based on we did some pre-screening questions to identify if the worker they need to go through the whole assessment or not. So if the worker they have more than 5 symptoms, they were identified, they were categorized as an ADHD, otherwise non-ADHD. So in the stage 1, we have 19 participants as ADHD and 68 as non-ADHD. Because it is a quite unbalanced data set, so we developed a GAN-based anomaly detection model, which has 2 components, generator and discriminator. The goal of the generator is to develop some synthetic non-ADHD data to fool the discriminator, and the goal of the discriminator it was trained on the real non-ADHD data, and it is capable enough to understand the data differences between the synthetic data and the real data. And the 2-minute baseline data from the worker was divided into 12 10-second windows, and the final output was decided based on the majority of the answers. And the next layer was the digital layer, where we visualize the results and the analysis of the data. And then we have a control layer. In the control layer, the system will check if the drone is approaching and the worker is paying attention or not. If not, a low-level vibration is provided. If still the worker didn't pay attention to drone, the intensity of the vibration was increased. And then we have a device layer, where the worker needs to wear a haptic vest, through which we provided the vibration based on the alerts. So now I would like to talk about the model performance. So the model performed around 80% across accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 score. But I want to highlight one thing here. Identifying an ADHD is still a clinical process, but this model has a great potential to pre-screen the workers with potential ADHD. And then we also did some analysis to see if the data types, different data types and the window sizing, how they impact the performance of the model. So you can see that by using all type of data like EDA, temperature, and acceleration on the 10-second window frame size has the highest model performance. So in the stage 2, we have 24 participants as ADHD and 45 participants as non-ADHD. So in this study, we want to check the effectiveness of the human digital twin system when a drone is approaching. So we selected 2 parameters. The first was the number of drones being noticed, and the second was the response time of the workers. So in the first figure, in this figure, you can see on the x-axis it's the participant without human digital twin system, where we don't have the alerts, and the second was with alerts, like with human digital twin system. So the numbers without human digital twin, only 26% of the workers they notice the drone, while with human digital twin system, the 82% of the workers they notice the drone. And the response time, it also decreases when there is a human digital twin system and they were provided the alert. So the key findings of this study is we developed the human digital twin system, which has the capability to identify the workers with potential ADHD, and also the haptic alerts can reduce the workers' response time. And this system can enhance the neurodiversity in the future construction. So this study contributes in the human digital twin system that can also act as the foundation to incorporate the other wearable devices that can help understand the workers and provide the feedback. There are still some limitations of the study. So in the stage 2 participant, they didn't go through the clinical ADHD assessment to cross-validate the model performance. And also 18% of the time the workers didn't pay attention, although the alerts were provided. Maybe another kind of alert will help them notice the drone. Thank you for your time, and I would be happy to take the questions.